Being set apart for a unique purpose creates an invisible boundary between those who are chosen and the masses. A life dedicated to an uncommon mission simply cannot operate by common patterns. And most people live according to external approval and group thinking. They look for validation from their circles. They shape their decisions based on what others expect, and they measure their worth by popularity. But a chosen one cannot do this, because the very nature of being chosen means being directed by a higher calling rather than by the noise of the crowd. And this calling is rare. It cannot be diluted by trying to blend in. It requires the courage to walk a path that is often lonely, misunderstood, and questioned by others. When you are called to a greater purpose, your time, energy, and focus become precious resources. Every moment spent must align with your vision. Unlike others, and you cannot afford to drift into endless social activities, gossip, or meaningless connections because these distractions scatter your mind. Your mission needs clarity, and clarity cannot survive constant noise. It is in the quiet, in the separation from the many, that you refine your thinking, solidify your values, and strengthen your resolve. And this separation is not arrogance, it is stewardship over your own destiny. The rarity of true purpose also attracts a different kind of opposition. And people may not understand why you choose silence over chatter, solitude over parties, or discipline over indulgence. They may call you distant or cold. But chosen ones know that intimacy with everyone means alignment with no one. They must protect the vision that has been planted in their hearts until it is strong enough to withstand criticism and misunderstanding. Being constantly among large groups makes it easy for doubts, fears, and competing opinions to creep in and sabotage that vision. This is why almost every person who has done something great, whether in faith, art, leadership, or innovation, has endured periods of isolation. That isolation is not punishment, it is preparation. It trains the mind to focus, the heart to listen, and the spirit to endure. A chosen one's mission is rarely obvious at first, and it takes a quiet life to hear the subtle instructions that guide each step. When you are surrounded by too many voices, and those instructions are drowned out, when you stand apart, you start to hear clearly. The world celebrates crowds, noise, and constant connection, but destiny celebrates silence, discernment, and selective association. The chosen one recognizes that being rare requires living differently. They learn to be comfortable with being misunderstood. They learn to be okay with being alone. They learn to value depth over breadth, focus over popularity, and quality over quantity in every area of life. And this way of living creates a foundation that cannot be shaken when their purpose begins to unfold publicly. To be chosen is to be entrusted, and to be entrusted is to live carefully, intentionally, and often quietly. This isn't rejection of people, it's reverence for the mission. The more a chosen one understands this, the more they guard their energy, limit their exposure, and cultivate the kind of focus that produces true greatness. Separation from the many becomes not a burden, but a privilege. The price of walking a path only few are called to travel. And every destiny carries a weight, and with that weight comes the responsibility to guard your associations. When a person is called to do something extraordinary, the company they keep will either accelerate that calling or erode it. Most people underestimate the influence of those around them. Words, attitudes, and habits are contagious. And spend enough time with people who doubt, complain, or settle for less, and their mindset begins to seep into your own. This is why chosen ones, whether they realize it at first or not, and feel an inner push to be careful about who they allow into their space. It's not about thinking they are better than others. It's about protecting the seed of purpose within them until it matures enough to withstand pressure. Selective association is an act of self-leadership. A chosen one cannot afford to drift into relationships or environments just because they are comfortable or familiar. Every association plants a seed. Some seeds grow into encouragement, focus, and strength, and others grow into distraction, doubt, and compromise. Because chosen ones carry a vision that is bigger than themselves, they must surround themselves with people who lift, sharpen, and challenge them to rise higher, not people who pull them down, question their worth, or drain their energy. The wrong environment can strangle a great vision before it has the chance to blossom. And this level of discernment requires courage because it often means stepping back from long-standing relationships or familiar circles. It means saying no to invitations that once felt necessary. It means disappointing people who do not understand your new level of focus. It also means resisting the pull of validation that comes from being liked by everyone. And chosen ones learn that it is better to walk alone for a season than to walk with the wrong crowd for a lifetime. In time, and they discover that the strength they gain from guarding their circle far outweighs the temporary discomfort of separation. Association is like soil for the soul. Even the best seed cannot grow in the wrong soil. You can have brilliance, talent, and vision, but if you plant yourself in an environment of mediocrity or negativity, your potential will remain dormant. And chosen ones instinctively know this, which is why they may appear distant or selective. They are not avoiding people out of pride. They are protecting their future out of wisdom. And they understand that their energy is finite and must be invested where it multiplies, not where it is wasted. Another reason chosen ones practice selective association is to guard their mental clarity. And too many conflicting opinions, motives, or energies create confusion. Confusion breeds hesitation, and hesitation delays destiny. By being deliberate about who they spend time with, and chosen ones preserve the mental and emotional space they need to think clearly, hear divine guidance, and act with conviction. Without this clarity, even the most gifted individual will wander aimlessly. In the end, selective association is not about isolation for its own sake. It is about alignment. Chosen ones are aligning themselves with their purpose, their values, and the people who share or respect their vision. They understand that alignment produces acceleration, while misalignment produces friction. This is why their circles are small but strong, their friendships few but deep, and their partnerships carefully chosen. They are not simply managing relationships, they are managing destiny. Growth that is destined to shape lives, industries, or generations is rarely forged in noise, it is born in solitude. The chosen one quickly discovers that separation is not a punishment, but a privilege, because it is in moments of aloneness that the deepest truths, visions, and strategies are revealed. Most people spend their days surrounded by chatter, scrolling through endless distractions, and filling every silence with noise. They may not realize that their minds are crowded, their spirits exhausted, and their creativity dulled. A person marked for a higher calling cannot afford to live that way. They must intentionally withdraw from the crowd, not because they are antisocial, but because they are serious about growth. Solitude is where vision is sharpened. When there are no competing voices and no pressure to conform, the chosen one can see clearly what must be done next. In the quiet, patterns emerge, insights arrive, and understanding deepens. This is why so many great leaders, inventors, and spiritual figures in history spent long periods alone. They understood that if you want to produce extraordinary results, and you must first cultivate an extraordinary inner life, and that cultivation requires space. Solitude is the classroom of self-mastery. It is the gym where mental muscles are built. Without it, you risk becoming a copy of the crowd instead of the original you were designed to be. Another dimension of solitude is the ability to hear what others miss. When you are constantly surrounded by people and their opinions, fears, and projections mix with your own thoughts until you can no longer tell which is which. In that confusion, your confidence erodes and your instincts dull. And by stepping back into solitude, chosen ones regain their inner compass. They learn to hear the subtle impressions, intuitive nudges, and divine guidance that chart the path ahead. This guidance does not shout, it whispers. Only a quiet mind can recognize it. Solitude also serves as a forge for character. And being around people can hide your flaws because there's always someone to distract you or soothe your ego. But being alone shows you who you really are. It reveals your fears, your strengths, and your weaknesses and your motivations. This can be uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. In solitude, chosen ones confront themselves honestly, refine their values, and strengthen their self-discipline. And they emerge from that process clearer, stronger, and more authentic. This depth of character becomes their anchor when they later step back into the public eye. People often equate solitude with loneliness, but they are not the same. Loneliness is emptiness, solitude is fullness. Loneliness is feeling disconnected, solitude is intentional connection to yourself, to your purpose, and to your creator. It is in solitude that chosen ones discover that they are never truly alone. They experience a sense of peace and empowerment that no crowd can give them. This inner strength becomes a shield against criticism and a source of courage in adversity. Finally, solitude is where preparation meets opportunity. When the time comes for a chosen one to act publicly and to lead or to reveal their work, they draw from the well they dug in private. Those who avoid solitude may look busy and popular, but their roots are shallow. And the chosen one who embraced solitude has deep roots, and those roots make them unshakable. They are not reactive, they are deliberate. They are not swayed by trends, they are guided by principles. And it all begins with choosing to step away from the noise so that growth can take place in the quiet. When a person carries a rare calling, their inner life becomes their most valuable asset. The energy and focus and clarity they cultivate determine the impact they will have on the world. This is why protecting their energy and influence is not optional but essential. And being constantly exposed to too many people can scatter that energy, introduce conflicting attitudes, and dilute their sense of direction. Every conversation, every environment, and every interaction transfers something. Either it strengthens or it weakens. A chosen one quickly realizes that their purpose requires them to be vigilant about what enters their mind and spirit, and they are not trying to appear aloof. They are safeguarding the fire within them so it does not burn out before its time. Energy is like currency, and those who are chosen cannot spend it recklessly. And most people treat their time and attention casually, giving them away to anyone who asks. But a person marked for a greater mission knows their time is a sacred resource. They cannot afford to be everywhere and doing everything or entertaining every invitation. Every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing. Protecting their energy means learning to say no, setting boundaries, and choosing carefully where they invest themselves. This discipline creates the capacity to pour deeply into their calling instead of scattering their efforts across distractions. Another reason chosen ones protect their energy is because their influence grows as they move closer to fulfilling their mission. Influence is powerful but also dangerous. The more people they impact, and the more opinions, expectations, and projections come their way. Without boundaries, they risk being shaped by the crowd instead of shaping the crowd. And protecting their influence means staying grounded in their values, maintaining clarity about their purpose, and refusing to compromise their principles to gain approval. This can feel isolating at times, but it preserves their authenticity and keeps their message pure. Negative environments also drain energy more quickly than anything else. Complaining, gossip, cynicism, and doubt are like toxins to the spirit of a chosen one. Exposure to too much negativity can cloud their thinking, dull their creativity, and weaken their resolve. And by limiting how much time they spend in such environments, they preserve their mental clarity and emotional strength. This doesn't mean they never engage with the world. It means they enter with a full cup, not an empty one, because they've protected their inner reserves. Protecting energy also involves guarding what they allow into their mind through media, conversations, and habits. Thoughts are seeds, and the chosen one is careful about which seeds they plant. They understand that their mind is a garden, and that its harvest will reflect whatever has been sown. By curating their input, books, teachings, mentors, and even friendships, they cultivate a mindset of resilience, focus, and hope. This mindset becomes a shield when challenges arise. Ultimately, and protecting energy and influence is not about living in fear, but about living with intention. It is the understanding that their purpose is too important to be left to chance. And each day they choose where to invest their time, attention, and emotional bandwidth. This deliberate stewardship makes them more effective, more resilient, and more impactful. They learn that their energy is the engine of their mission, and that engine must be cared for if they are to travel far. In doing so, they preserve their ability to lead, create, and serve at the highest level, even when the world around them tries to pull them in 100 directions at once. Chosen ones are not called to chase popularity. They are called to build, to lead, and to transform. Leadership is not born from being liked by everyone, but from being prepared when the moment arrives. This is why those who are chosen often find themselves in seasons of separation, and their preparation requires disciplined training and the cultivation of strength that cannot be developed in constant social activity. The crowd celebrates what is easy and immediate, and chosen ones must prepare for what is lasting and significant. This preparation cannot happen while trying to please everyone or fit into every group. Leadership demands focus, and a person with a higher calling must direct their time, energy, and thoughts toward developing the skills, wisdom, and character required to guide others. And they cannot afford to spend their best hours on distractions or on seeking validation from people who may never understand their vision. By stepping back from the masses, and chosen ones create the mental and emotional space needed to grow into the leader their destiny requires them to be. This discipline shapes them into individuals who can stand firm under pressure and think clearly in crisis and make decisions based on principle rather than popularity. The process of preparation also involves testing. In isolation, chosen ones are confronted with their weaknesses, fears, and doubts. These tests are not designed to break them, but to build them. They learn patience, self-control, and resilience. And they discover how to rely on their inner compass rather than the approval of others. This internal fortitude becomes the foundation of their leadership. Without it, and they would crumble under the weight of influence once they step into their public role. With it, they can lead with integrity and confidence, even when criticized or misunderstood. Being chosen also means developing vision. True leaders see what others cannot yet see. They recognize possibilities, strategies, and dangers before they appear obvious. And this level of insight requires quiet reflection and deep thinking, activities that are impossible when constantly surrounded by noise and chatter. By choosing solitude and selective association, chosen ones sharpen their vision like a blade, preparing themselves to act decisively when opportunities emerge. When their moment arrives, they are not scrambling to figure out what to do, and they already know because they prepared in advance. Another reason chosen ones must separate from the crowd is to learn independence of thought. Leaders cannot simply echo the opinions of others. They must cultivate original thinking and the courage to stand by it. This independence is forged in the crucible of solitude. When you are away from the crowd and you stop measuring your worth by how many people agree with you, you start forming convictions rooted in truth and purpose rather than in consensus. This is the mindset that enables chosen ones to chart new paths, challenge outdated norms, and inspire others to follow. Finally, preparation for leadership builds humility. And while the crowd may see separation as pride, in reality, it is a humbling process. Chosen ones spend years learning, serving, and refining their character out of the spotlight. And they understand that leadership is not about elevating themselves, but about elevating others. By withdrawing from the constant noise of the masses, and they gain a deeper empathy and patience that will later enable them to lead with compassion. This combination of strength, clarity, and humility makes them the kind of leader who can influence others not through force, but through example. Before a person can step fully into their purpose, there is always a hidden stage, a time of transformation that takes place away from the public eye. This season feels like isolation, but it is actually preparation. And chosen ones are called to manifest greatness, but greatness built on an unprepared foundation collapses. Private transformation is the training ground where character is forged, skills are sharpened, and then the inner life grows strong enough to carry the weight of future influence. Without this private work, even the most talented person would falter when the spotlight finally turns toward them. This hidden stage is where old patterns are broken. A chosen one cannot enter a new level of life carrying the same habits, fears, and limitations that once defined them. And transformation strips away what is unnecessary and refines what is essential. It can be uncomfortable because it requires honesty about weaknesses and the courage to change. And yet it is in this very discomfort that the chosen one gains the resilience and clarity they will need later. In public, people admire results. In private, and chosen ones build the roots that make those results possible. Transformation also means aligning the inner world with the outer calling. Many dream of influence, but few understand the pressure it brings. Criticism, expectation, and temptation increases, visibility grows. Without an inner life rooted in purpose, the chosen one risks being swayed by public opinion or crushed by public scrutiny. And during the hidden phase, they learn to define themselves not by applause, but by conviction. They develop a sense of identity so strong that no amount of praise or criticism can distort it. And this inner alignment becomes their anchor when storms arise. In private, chosen ones cultivate disciplines that later look like effortless excellence. The speeches that inspire, the art that moves, and the leadership that transforms, all of it is born in hours of unseen practice and reflection. This is why their public presence feels powerful. It is supported by thousands of invisible choices made in solitude. They have rehearsed courage, integrity, and perseverance until these qualities are second nature. People see the fruit but rarely witness the root. Another purpose of transformation before manifestation is to build patience. The modern world glorifies instant success, but enduring success requires time. Seeds must be planted, nurtured, and protected before they bloom. Chosen ones learn to trust this process, resisting the urge to rush into visibility before they are ready. This patience is not passive, and it is active preparation. It is the steady building of skills, the refining of vision, and the cultivation of humility that will sustain them later. And this hidden phase also helps the chosen one discern who and what truly belongs in their life. As they grow privately, relationships shift, old environments lose their pull, and new opportunities begin to align with their purpose. This pruning is not rejection, it is positioning. By the time their manifestation arrives, and their surroundings are better suited to support their calling, they step into the public stage with a clear vision, a purified heart, and a support system that matches their destiny. And the paradox is that while this transformation feels like being held back, it is actually what launches them forward. The unseen years are never wasted. They are the foundation of everything that comes later. And when manifestation finally arrives, the chosen one is not scrambling to become the person their role requires. They already are that person, forged, disciplined, and prepared through private transformation. This is why chosen ones cannot be around many people. During this stage, their focus must be on becoming, not on being seen.